Hello everybody, this is Aftershaves here. I'm back with another video. I hope this finds you well and in good spirits. So, the first thing you might recognize is the change in the camera. So I have to first give a huge shout out and thank you to some of my friends who very kindly raised some funds and decided to buy me this Sony ZV-1 camera to help improve the quality of the videos here on this channel, and I just really appreciate my friends doing that. They've been big supporters of me and of this channel for years now, and so just want to give a big shout out to those people. So today we're going to be using a new soap to me, which is Sterling Green. How about that focusing, huh? Let's do that one more time. Sterling Green. That's pretty great and something that you can't get if you're using the front-facing camera on an iPhone. So this is a dupe of Polo Green, which was one of my favorite scents back in the day. My dad used to have a bottle of the Eau de Toilette, and then eventually at some point I stole it from him, and then I started wearing it. Yeah, anyway, this is just a beautiful green, kind of smoky, woody sort of scent. The soap is a little bit sweeter than the actual cologne to me, but it's close enough, and the splash itself is actually quite close, in my opinion. I think this is pretty close to the original, and so that's cool. These are, of course, in the smaller sizes. These were released last year for Black Friday, and he did it a few years, but this year they were not. And also would like to give a thank you to the person who gifted me that set. That's certainly much appreciated as well. So we'll be talking about that as we go. We've got the Semogue Torga C5 board brush soaking, which I'll show you in a moment. For the razor, we're going to use the Merkur 34C HD. Of course, you got to say the HD. Two-piece razor. You loosen the bottom, the top comes off, and then let's add in that same Bolzano blade that I used last week. There's the Bolzano. Did you ever think you'd be able to see the razor blade in such detail? I know I didn't. And then I always think that this way of loading a blade is a little bit awkward compared to three-piece, but it's not too bad. And then the only thing with these 34C is you need to make sure that the blade is aligned, and it looks like the blade is aligned pretty well. And thanks to this wonderful camera, you can see all the lack of polishing and cleaning I've done to this razor. But it's a workhorse razor, and you know, I think it can work for a lot of different people, and it's not just for beginners. That's always the most important thing. Just checking my finger here because it feels like I went right across the blade tabs, which can be dangerous, okay? But looks like I'm okay. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and get some warm water on my face, and then I'm gonna cut and bring it back in just a second when I'm about to start the lathering process. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We've shaken out some water from the Torga C5, and let's go ahead and start loading the soap here. A friend of mine who's been a handle SpongeBob online, he thinks that board brushes and the Sterling soap base go hand in hand. And as I always say about most products I use, frankly, on this channel, I don't get to use Sterling enough, and hopefully I can rectify that a little bit in the coming year. The scent isn't changing too much as I'm starting to add water and load it onto our brush here. It's still a little, yeah, it's not quite right, and that's okay though. It just, I guess it needs to just be close enough, and then you can always use the original cologne, which isn't terribly expensive. Just don't do what I did and don't get this little teeny tiny bottle that doesn't come with a atomizer on it. And so I was splashing myself with Polo Green before I invested in some separate decanting little bottles, right? Okay, so this has to be plenty of soap, but as Rod says, load it like you think you have enough, and then load some more. So let me add a little bit of this top here. Yeah, again, hopefully with this new camera you can see all my lovely facial imperfections, and maybe some people can see my stubble a little bit easier too. I certainly don't have a crazy beard by any means, but I can assure you that there's something going on there. All right, so here we go. Let's start lathering the soap. This board brush just reached 20 uses the other day, and that was my best experience with it yet. It just, I don't know, it's really starting to feel soft, and it plays easier now than it used to, and did a decent job of holding on to the lather too. I'm just gonna add some water, and I haven't used Stirling in a little bit of time. I own Varen, which was an original scent that a Dutch shaving forum commissioned them to make. And that one's kind of a spicy green fern kind of scent. And then I also have Island Man, which is their dupe of Creed's Virgin Island Water. If you're interested, I've posted videos with both of those soaps on this channel before, and so if you just either look on my channel, or you probably can just type it into the YouTube search directly, you know, HG Shaves Varen or HG Shaves Island Man, and then I bet you'll find it. So, among Stirling's many great qualities, another one of them is the soap base. They haven't changed the soap base in a long time, but it is tallow based, and it's really a nice base. There are certainly soap bases out there that cost much more, that do not perform as well as this. And of course with Stirling, you know, most of their products are extremely affordable, and it's pretty easy to say, you know, that, oh well, this can't be as good because it's not as cheap as Stirling, but this is really a nice soap base. And the mutton tallow is also a nice one. That's what Varen is in, and I hope to try the Port-au-Prince soap soon. Frank, a good friend of the channel, he sent me a good sample of that. And I believe that one is Haitian vetiver and lemongrass, something like that. I can really smell the lemongrass in that one. It's not as much of a, you know, straight up vetiver as I was expecting. Okay, so I'm going to keep lathering this in, and I'll bring my camera. I'm about to start my first pass in just a moment. Okay, we're back, and this is our lather result today. Pretty happy with that. It's translucent in some spots, but it's not thinning out by any means. Pretty thick lather. Let's go with the Merkur 34C HD. First pass here with the Bolzano, and yeah, let's take out the sideburns a little bit here. So I hope everyone had as good of a week as I've been having. Last weekend, as I think I mentioned, I got to reunite with some of my old bandmates, and also got to meet some new people. Got to play up in Wisconsin 2 days, and then came back, and Tuesday night we played here in Chicago, which was great. And I definitely forgotten how much I enjoyed playing with that band and hanging out with those people. So it was just good vibes all around, as the kids say. And Then after that, I received, let's put a little more lather here on the left side, if we're gonna take up the sideburn a little bit. Okay. And then also Tuesday night after the performance, I found out that, you know, my friends had chipped in and got me this camera, among some other things too, by the way. This is the one that, you know, you all will notice the most here for this channel. And so, yeah, I mean, from the performances to the camera to my upcoming rest of the month, I really, yeah, it's really been an excellent week. One of my best weeks in quite some time, and I'm thankful for that. Not every week has to be this good, but it's nice when it is, right? Yeah, so this weekend I'm supposed to go back to Colorado to visit my good friends there. That's where I spent my kind of adolescent years, if you will, and so that place sort of feels like home to me, the most out of the places that I lived, because it was such, you know, those were such important years for me. And I'm just very excited to see my two best friends. I used to see them twice a year, and since the pandemic, I haven't seen them in almost 2 years, which is wild. So it'll be Colorado for a few days, and I'll come back here to Chicago for a couple days, and then I've got a special trip planned after that, but I don't want to jinx it, so I'll share after the fact if I make it back in one piece. And I will do a New Year's, Christmas Eve shave next week. For once, I should actually have the time and the tools to do that, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Sorry about that, everybody. New camera problems. First pass was good. I'm going to rinse and then come back for pass number 2 in just a moment. Stand by. Pass number 2 with the Torga C5 and Stirling Green. Okay, let's do pass number 2, mostly across the grain with the 34C. And to talk a little bit about these items, I wish I would have started with this razor instead of the 23C. Like in the very beginning, that one has the long handle, and the balance is just terrible as a result. It's like a 4-inch handle, thin handle, not great. I definitely picked it because I was coming from cartridges and thought that you needed a long handle, but this thing, like the 3-inch handle, but it's just so solid, and you know, the knurling's pretty good. So yeah, honestly, I regret not starting with this one, and in my opinion, this might be the best like beginner Semogue razor, you know, compared to, and the Brits watching will shudder a little bit, so brace yourself. I think this is better than, you know, the Edwin Jagger DE89s, razors like that. This one's better. It actually has the handle itself is actually brass, just with chrome plating, and then the head is pot metal, but you know, with this kind of design, if you take good care of it, it should last. And yeah, The Bolzano blade, last week was my first time trying one ever, and now it's 2 for 2 in razors for me. It worked well in the Fatip that I used last week, and then it works well in this also. And I did get some more comments on last week's video about how, oh, Bolzano, that blade doesn't work for me. So it's kind of funny to me how infamous those blades are. Okay, great. Second pass done. Let's rinse, come back for our final third pass against the gray mostly. Okay, final third pass with the Torga and Stirling green. Third pass against the gray mostly with the 34C HD. And so yeah, does anybody else have any fun travel holiday plans? Let me know. Love hearing about what friends and family are doing this time of year, and even online shaving acquaintances. So let me know if you feel like it. You can still hear some hairs being cut, but most of the work was done on the first 2 passes, of course. I think in some cases maybe this kind of standard Merkur head design can be seen as overly mild for some people starting off, and that was kind of how I felt, but really I just needed somebody to kind of give me some technique tips. And certainly some lather ones. The razor, I remember the razor getting clogged all the time because my lather was so pasty, and yeah, obviously there's nothing wrong with the razor, it was just user error. But it is something to keep in mind that is, you know, kind of a mild razor. So if you're going to be shaving off a beard once a week, maybe don't grab this one, but you could. There's certainly many video examples. Out there, people using a D89 or this razor to clear off, you know, a beard, basically. Which, when I watch those videos, it makes me think, you know, if these guys are shaving off a beard, which is like more than I would probably ever need to shave off, if they can do that with a razor like this, then why do I and why do other people need anything more aggressive than this? It's just a thought to ponder. Started doing some more kind of slanted kind of moves down here. So not just going straight south to north, but kind of adding a little curve in there. And I'm not sure if that's necessarily the way my hair grows, but it does feel a little bit more comfortable than just going straight south to north. And to quote the old Michael Friedberg, shave in the direction of the comfort, right? Just because people say you should shave one way or should shave the other way, doesn't mean that you have to. And just like that, I mean, that was an excellent shave. In terms of the soap feel, it's maybe a touch drying, but it's not too bad. The skin feels pretty good. I mean, definitely no irritation, no heat, nothing like that. So I'm going to rinse and come back and talk to you over post-shave in just a moment. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back after a cold water rinse. That's always very soothing. And let's go with the Stirling Green Splash. alcohol, witch hazel, fragrance, aloe, glycerin. That's about it. So here we go. I've had some issues with Stirling Splash in the past. I'm not sure if it was high alcohol content or the fragrance oils themselves, but let's see if this lights me up. This will be the first time to see. Feels pretty good, actually. Not too much burn. Kind of surprised, but I guess it's a pretty mild razor, so it didn't maybe shave off that, you know, top layer of skin along with the hair. Yeah, the Splash 2, it lacks this sort of like woody depth to the original fragrance. It's close, but yeah, it's not quite right. But you're not paying that much for this, so what can you really expect, right? And this is one of those cases where if you want to get the original fragrance, just get the original fragrance. You know, it's not super expensive. It's not like it's a Creed brand fragrance. So, but yeah, nicely surprised there with how that felt. The Sterling Green Splash. And then let's add what I've been adding to a lot of, you know, if I use an alcohol splash these days, I will also use some Declaration Grooming Unscented Liniment. So this is a pretty thick product. It's got bison tallow in it. I think I've talked about it before on this channel. I'll try and, I just use one pump, like that much is plenty of this product. It's pretty, it's got a little bit of a funk to it. So you gotta be ready for the bison funk. At least that's what I assume it is. But man, it really nourishes the skin, and to me it's a little bit more easy to use than that Chatillon salve, I'm not sure. That one is very protective, but it's just a little more difficult to apply in my experience. So there we go, we used some liniment today. Alright, let's do a final recap. We used Sterling Green Soap and Splash. Those Black Friday Sterling options are great, by the way, because they're smaller, you know, versions of the Soap and Splash, and they're a way to try out some new scents from Sterling before they release them. Sterling has said before that that's the way that they sort of trial, you know, test out new scents before they fully release them later on. So that's definitely cool. It was the 21st use of the Semogue Torga C5. Really enjoyed how that brush is breaking in, soft but enough backbone and decently dense. It doesn't feel empty while you're using it. And then finally, the Merkur 34C HD. Really like this razor, and yeah, nice mild shaver. So thank you all so much if you made it this far in the video. As always, thank you for your comments and your support. I've been really feeling the love in the past week from all kinds of people in the community, and that's been really nice. So for now, this has been HD Shaves. Take care, and we'll see you again next time. Goodbye.